An important part of your responsibilities as a peer support specialist is facilitating recovery dialogues with peers. This is usually done in a small group, and there is a specific structure to recovery dialogues that we will explain and then show you. The process for facilitating an effective recovery dialogue is the same regardless of the topic. Step 1. The peer support specialist introduces the topic. They may use a story or a quotation to help visualize the topic. Step 2. The CPSS asks questions to the group that get people discussing the topic in general. They don't have to share their own experiences. That's important because people don't easily share their experiences because they might be afraid. It's better to talk about the topic in a general way instead of making the peers explore their own stories right away. The third step is, once the discussion gets going, the facilitator starts asking questions more directly, and the peers start to share their own personal experiences. In step 4, the facilitator or the CPSS asks questions that help people relate the topic and their experiences in recovery to their own recovery, and their experiences to their own recovery. Now let's watch an effective recovery dialogue. The topic on today's agenda is good days and bad days. This curriculum includes more than 20 other topics you can use to lead recovery dialogues with your groups or while working with your peers one-on-one. So today we want to talk about good days and bad days. How many of you have good days? How many of you have bad days? It's no surprise. Everyone has experienced good days and bad days. That's human nature, whether or not you're recovering from a mental illness. Some days we feel good. Some days we feel bad. And good days and bad days don't just happen. Something is going on that causes us to feel the way we do. So how do you know when someone is having a good day? What are they like physically, mentally, emotionally? If I see someone having a good day, they look happy. They're dressed nicely. Maybe they're out and about being friendly, interacting with other people. You can just sense a good vibe from them. They're happy. So how do you know when someone is not doing well? How do you know they're having a bad day? What are some of the physical, mental, and emotional indications? Well, I can see when somebody's really irritable, maybe flying off the handle, maybe really withdrawn or depressed, crying a lot, not leaving the house or getting out of bed, not seeing friends or getting out, just staying inside all the time. How do you know when someone's having a bad day? How or not doing well? What happens to you? Well, my brain gets kind of foggy. I can't communicate well. I feel just frozen. What are some of the things that you do that help you have a good day? Can you give us some examples? For example, I know that whenever I exercise every day, I seem to handle stress better. Well, I'm a worrier. So when I notice I'm thinking very negatively, I deliberately try to shift to a more positive mindset. I tell myself it's going to be all right, I can make it through today, and that helps me. I can add to that. I do yoga and meditate to help reduce my stress. I try to think positively. Sometimes I work out, and if I just get out there and see people instead of staying inside, I need to use my support system. What are some of the things that cause you to not do well? For example, I know that I'm more likely to have a bad day if I don't get enough sleep. I'm more likely to be crabby, and then later I feel bad. I tend to postpone tasks like an assignment or something at work with stuff or family. Then when my boss presses me for a deadline or something, I snap at her. I may even argue about it, even though I know it's my fault for procrastinating. When you're not doing well, what are some of the things you find helpful for getting you back on track? What do you do to turn a bad day around and make it a good day? Well, I know that if I'm drinking a lot of pop, I can drink way too much of it. So I try to drink less of that and switch to water. And I do better and I sleep better and I can go to work. That helps. It's interesting. We all seem to know what we need to do to have more good days and how we can turn a bad day into a good day. We just don't always do what we know is best for us. How can you use what we have been discussing to help you further your own recovery? What do we need to do to help more of us take what we know and begin to create our own wellness programs? Let's take some time to develop these strategies into action so our good days outnumber our bad days. As you saw, the CPSS used this recovery dialogue to help the peers explore a common challenge on a deeper, more personal level. And by sharing his own experience, the peer support specialist was able to give group members permission to share their experiences. Then they can think of proactive ways to handle their own situations. The biggest mistake that many CPSSs make when facilitating a recovery dialogue is that they try to teach people something. They talk too much and they do not trust the group. The basic assumption of a peer support specialist is that he or she knows something that the people in the group do not know, and that puts them in a position of more power than their peers. The sports specialist needs to remember that most people have experienced whatever is being discussed. Anybody with a psychiatric diagnosis knows something about the struggle to recover, to do more for oneself, to create their own life, or to live independently. The CPSS should assume that everyone in the group has experienced the topic that will be discussed. So the CPSS needs to help them see what they know so they can recognize their own strengths and what they've been through. Recovery dialogues are structured group discussions that focus on rebuilding peers' self-image and strengthening their belief that they can learn and grow. The dialogues are designed to help people look at their lives and think how well their recovery is going and in which direction. Recovery dialogues help a peer realize they are capable, and that increases their self-confidence. They can move away from feeling they can't do anything towards making their lives better. By creating a safe environment for sharing, peers can feel comfortable talking about and reflecting on times in their life when they acted on their own behalf and were able to make decisions for themselves successfully. Recovery dialogues are not the same as traditional self-help or support groups. Recovery dialogues and support groups are the same in that the focus is sharing experiences, but recovery dialogues have a structure focused on a specific topic. This is often in a printed handout or a story. The peers in the group focus their attention on the topic and the story first. Then the CPSS uses the story or the handout to help the peers focus on their own lives. Their questions enable individual participation, keep the group focused on the topic, honor the individual perspectives, and move that sharing from a surface to a deeper level. Think about this recovery dialogue and how it compares with group sessions that take place in your program or what you've experienced in the past. Is a recovery dialogue the same as your group sessions or different? Are they positive experiences? Do your sessions allow two-way discussion, or is one person lecturing the whole time? What ideas do you have for improving the peer experience? As the CPSS just said in the video, let's develop some strategies. Good luck.